Hey guys, my name is Ryan Godoy. I am a director, a filmmaker that mostly focuses on horror films and short films. And today I wanted to pick up the camera and talk about some of the things that I'd wish I had known as I got into filmmaking. And, some of these things I feel like you just got to figure out for yourself. But I'm going to say it just in case this helps anybody else out there that is getting into filmmaking or is still growing in their filmmaking journey, as I am. But here are some things I wish I knew when I was first getting started. First tip or piece of advice I have is that the cinematic look that everyone's trying to achieve does not come from lighting or the camera. Those might play a part in it, but it's a pretty small percentage. And people don't really talk about that much because it's not really sexy. Cameras and lights and gear is sexy. It's what everybody talks about on YouTube. I went through a big phase of that's all I thought about. It's what I fantasized about, buying all this gear and all this gear I could have and how much better it could make my movies. And there's a reason we think about those things, and it's because gear is exciting and new things are like instant gratification and it feels good and people can make YouTube videos about it and they can have affiliate links on it. And there's a lot of money to be made in gear. But at the end of the day, the gear does not really matter. I know people say that all the time, but it's true. I've gotten to a point where I'll make a short film and I don't know what gear is being used on it. People ask me what camera was this shot on and I don't know. So it's like, as long as it looks good and as long as the audience is not distracted and as long as I can focus on the story, I'm happy. I don't need the best camera in the world. All cameras are pretty good. I'm shooting this on my iPhone. It's pretty good. I honestly think that focusing on gear is a phase that most filmmakers will have to go through, but my advice would be try to start focusing on story and start focusing on talent and gathering talent around you that can help you make your films become a reality. Another thing I wish I'd known is that out of this graph right here is that you can only pick two. It's been true for me through most of my filmmaking career. You can only really pick two. You can be fast and cheap, but it won't be good. It can be good and fast, but it's going to be expensive. Or it can be, don't try to cut corners here, abide by the graph. It doesn't steer you wrong. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to try to beat this graph. I'm still going to try to do something cheap and good and fast, but it's not going to work out. Another thing that took me a while to learn was that the riches are in the niches, and it's okay to get a little bit weird with your filmmaking. Essentially, if you're going to make a film where your target audience can be anybody in like any demographic, that's a pretty easy way to make sure that not a lot of people see your film, because there is a lot of competition for eyes on movies. There are people out there with much larger marketing budgets than you fighting for those same eyeballs, and there's only a certain amount of eyeballs. So if your target audience is everyone, not many people will probably see it. But if your target audience is a very select group of people who don't have that many movies made just for them, I don't know, I'm going to pick something random like future werewolf, sci-fi werewolf movies. There's probably an audience out there for sci-fi werewolf movies. And if you make a sci-fi werewolf movie, there's not many of those. So that means pretty much everybody that's into sci-fi werewolf movies and maybe some other people that bleed over from that community, they're going to see your movie. And you have a built-in audience already ready to go. But don't try to just like pick something because you think people want to see it, but you actually know nothing about it because they'll call you out instantly. So pretty much if you're part of a niche community, maybe consider making a movie for your people. Something I struggle with every day on my filmmaking journey is remembering and reminding myself that character is king when it comes to movies and storytelling. My brain is just built to be plot driven and like visual driven, and it's so difficult for me to remind myself that the character is all that really matters. There's a lot of very memorable movies that have no VFX, just a simple plot, but they're super memorable because the characters and the story are so meaningful, important, and compelling. And then there's other movies where the plot is insane, the visual effects are crazy, it's flashy, and you forget it 1 month later because, the characters weren't really fighting for anything and the characters were just meaningless and forgettable. So that's just a reminder, character is king. And the last piece of advice I have for filmmakers right now is that no one is coming to make all your dreams come true at the end of the day. I spent years telling myself I wanted to be a director, I wanted to be a filmmaker, and I took zero action. I sat on the couch, I watched movies, I watched directors' commentary, I watched YouTube videos about filmmaking, and I kept telling myself, I'm going to be a director, I'm going to be a filmmaker. But I never took any action and actually did anything about it. And I never got uncomfortable and took the steps necessary to maybe making that a reality. And it took me years and years to realize that there's not going to be some guy that just comes up to me and says, hey, do you want to make a movie? Here's a couple $1,000,000. Have fun. And I wouldn't really want that to happen, because without any practice, suddenly someone gives me my dream job, I'm probably going to screw it up. So no one's coming to give you your dream job. You got to get up. You got to make it happen. I know it sounds like a motivational speech or something, but it's just the truth. That's just how life works. So I hope this was useful to somebody out there. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe learned something from it. Go make some movies. Thanks for watching.